Alrighty, hello everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of SiegeCast. Sheesh! I'm your host Graxy, and this is a podcast where we talk about everything Hero Siege, from new content to debating those controversial topics. Right? Thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited for this premiere. Grab yourselves a drink, get comfy. We have loads to talk about. Gentlemen, thank you guys for being here as well. Those are the people
Thanks
on
for
the
having us,
panel.
sir.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I know it's like 3:30 in the morning for Rexy, so he's being a trooper. Did you actually go to sleep, or have you been up since this morning?
I've been up since this morning, actually. I tried to sleep, but I couldn't.
Yikes. Also, I want to give a special shout out to Trog and Ozzy. They're hanging out with us in the voice chat, helping us manage some of the chat responses, as well as helping with the key giveaways. So thank you guys. This episode was recorded live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Graxy_TV on Monday, December 15th at 7:30 p.m. CST. I plan to continue the series on a weekly basis, starting around the beginning of each season's closed beta and running through launch, but we could do a couple weeks beyond. It ultimately depends on you guys. Each week, we will have various guests and topics, and I will be posting this episode of SiegeCast on YouTube shortly after its conclusion. For those of you that are here live with us on Twitch, again, thank you so much for being here. It's always great to see so many people wanting to be a part of this awesome game. I will have Hero Siege key giveaways happening throughout the SiegeCast. This will be done via marbles while we're responding to chat's feedback. Even if you already play, or if you already own the game, you can still win and give it to a friend or family member for Christmas. But please only play if you actually plan to claim the prize. Now, for the duration of the SiegeCast, all audible alerts, TTS, and redemptions have been disabled, and ads have been as removed as I could make them, but they may still trigger like a 30-second ad every hour or so. So I'll let you guys know if that happens. However, if you would like to support this stream, the future of SiegeCast, consider subscribing or use the donation link provided below the stream. This will help keep the SiegeCast ad-free, and thank you so much for your support. Now, the format of SiegeCast will be as follows. I'll introduce a topic, we'll open it up for discussion and ask questions among the panel. And then before we move on to the next topic, I'll read selected responses from chat, either directly or passed along from the moderators. The panel will then have a chance to address those comments before we continue on. And lastly, we have a quick disclaimer. Everything we discuss here, whether it's patch notes, character balancing, or new content, is based on the current information that we have. Keep in mind that things may change as updates roll out and some details may shift over time. The opinions shared in this podcast are my own and those of my guests. We all have different perspectives and experiences with the game, and that's part of what makes these discussions so interesting. So feel free to share your thoughts, but let's keep it friendly and respectful. Also, the guests have been given just a brief outline of the episode's topics. That way we ensure that, we get genuine responses. Now, I would also like to keep this episode no more than like an hour to an hour and a half. But since this is my first time doing a podcast, this means that, it could be split into multiple episodes or have a part 2. So we'll kind of see how that goes. And yeah, all right. Before we dive into the topics, I'll introduce myself and then give our guests a chance to do so as well. I'm Graxy, or Graxy_TV. My handle is the same on Twitch, YouTube, and Discord. I've been playing Hero Siege for about 5 or 6 years. I have around 8,000 hours in the game, with I think I have half of those in just the Hero Siege beta. So I first found out the game. I was looking through Steam and saw Binding of Isaac, and one of my buddies is like, why don't you just play Hero Siege? It has like rune words and stuff in it, and me being a big D2 guy, I had to try it. Obviously, found the game, fell in love with it, been playing it ever since. So, yeah, that's me. Who's up next?
I'll go.
Benderdin.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever. Ben.
Hello, everyone. Benderdin here. You can find me Twitch, YouTube, or TikTok. I'm getting started on TikTok under the same handle. I only have just over 2,000 hours myself in Hero Siege. But I actually got started because of Graxy. Graxy was the one who recommended it. I've been a fan of ARPGs since, back in the Diablo days. So this was a very, very easy pickup for me as well. Started making guides in season 5 when I started playing, and just haven't been able to put it down. I've been hooked.
Nice. Cat.
Hello, I'm MisterSleepyCat, same handle on Twitch. I've been playing Hero Siege since roughly Season 4. Got interested in the game by a friend who suggested it, kind of under the same idea. When we looked at it and saw rune words, it's like, oh, okay, I know what those are. I'm going to play the game. Put roughly 1,500, 1,600 hours into it so far. Too many per season to count. And I'm very excited to chat about the game quite a bit after making a ton of videos of it.
Easy. Also, chat, I want you to know that we were setting everybody's cameras up, and the reason the cat is cut off is he was too fat to fit in the camera. So that's what we had to work with.
Coming to you live from the void.
Okay, so I guess I'm the last one.
You're it.
So I'm
You're up.
Rexy. Yeah. I actually started playing Hero Siege way back in the iPhone when there was 3 classes and it was the good old wave defense that everyone is talking in the Steam reviews. Pretty much then from there, I later on came in as an intern. I just asked Elias if I could come in as an intern and he accepted me. And then from player to developer pretty much. That's kind of my story. I play a ton of Path of Exile, Diablo 1, Diablo 2, and all other ARPGs, so I actually do have quite a bit of experience regarding gaming.
Yeah, and not to toot your own horn or anything, but so were you first in the world to hit max level in TLI, or just like first in your region?
First in the world, actually, at that season.
So, chat, we all know my opinions of TLI, and most of our opinions of TLI, but it's still a pretty big feature to be able to hit, rank 1, to be the first one to hit, max level in a game like that with thousands and thousands of players. So kudos.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your introductions. Guys, I will have links to all of their platforms available in this video's description. That'll be on YouTube. So yeah, I want to start getting into some of the discussions here with a little bit of review on Season 8. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. Most of us have given some sort of feedback on Season 8 or, a lot of the issues or feedback that we've given has generally already been addressed in the patch notes. But I am curious, what did you guys play in Season 8 and how long did you play Season 8? And ultimately, what stopped you from logging back into the game? So again, we can start Ben, it doesn't matter, whomever.
Yeah, I'll go first. So I went through and I've been a Pally main since I started really playing the game excessively back in Season 5. I've kind of been a one-trick pony in that regard, but at the same point, it's like, don't fix what isn't broken. I'll stop playing it as soon as it stops being fun, is really what it comes down to. I kind of moved away from it, I'm going to say maybe almost a month ago, and it mostly was just the player base was really falling off. It, yeah, you do reach a certain point where you're playing excessively, like you're doing the same content over and over, but without people being there to interact with it, it makes it kind of tough to continue going.
So basically, nerf Paladin. So I guess if that happened, what would you play? Like, what would you go to? What would be your next character?
God, that's a tough question. I've always been interested in Shield Lancer. I think it would be very interesting. I think I could pick that up and get a handle on that pretty reasonably. So that would probably be my next go-to.
Copium. Right, did you even play last season? Or were you busy with other stuff?
Me? Or what? Yeah, I did actually play some, but to be honest, when you're deving the game, you somewhat lose interest in actually playing it. But I did play solo self-fund hardcore samurai, and then I did a little bit paladin as well. Both to 100, but I didn't push it to Inferno. And why I quit? Pretty much because when you're deving the game, you just you play it anyway, and when you know everything inside out, it's just so different. It's hard to explain, but
no, I totally
maybe
get it.
someday,
Yeah, being on the beta side of it, this is something that I like. That's one of the reasons I didn't really play Season 8 beta that much, because I'm just a little burnt out. I go and actually play the season, and I'm done in 3 days. So, Mao.
Yeah, I played a Demon Spawn, which has come to be my favorite class over multiple seasons playing it in a Blood Pact. And as you know, we started in a Blood Pact, so part of where we ran into less playtime, I think we played maybe 10, 12 days total. And that's just, you have your expedited gear and experience, but what really came down to is just we kind of did everything.
Yeah.
And outside of testing other classes, it was kind of the same thing. You know, player base of the Blood Pact only lasts so long, mostly because of like, you know, some stuff we talked about with the season and probably will get into.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that too. Like we did everything so quickly just because of some of the items that were available in last season. Just I don't know, kind of just killed the vibe of the whole season. At least for me, that's one of the reasons I ended up stopped playing. Is just Lucy kind of killed it, and there was a couple people in our blood pack that had one that were able to just basically do all the content in the game, like one shot everything and trivialize the entire game for the entire blood pack. So it just became like, why play kind of situation, or not, or join them, right? It's more kind of a FOMO thing. For me,
Past the Lucy crown.
yeah, I ended up playing Jotun, loved Jotun, played it a ton, but then I got stuck in Soul Gem Hell, and I tried to get a Soul Gem for like 5 days, and then somebody came into my chat and was like, "I'm pretty sure you can only get Soul Gems on Inferno. That was changed." And he like it said the patch note of all the Hell 5 drops were moved to Inferno. And in my mind, I'm like, "Well, but you can get it on any Hell difficulty. Why would that matter?" So I asked Elias, and Elias confirmed that you could only get it in Inferno. Like the code itself said that you could only get it in Inferno. So I was like, "Fuck."
Oh,
So
dude,
I
we were all there for that.
So I started farming it, and it wasn't even like, I don't know, maybe a day later, Fuma and Jobo were talking about it. Like people were in Jobo's chat saying that, you know, that I was farming for this thing, couldn't get it, and then Fuma started doing a bunch of testing and dropped one, and Hell won. So then I went back to Elias, and Elias was like, "No, I'm looking at the code right now. Fuma's lying. You can't drop it." So it was this whole debacle, and I remember this specifically because I went into the cat stream because he knew about the whole situation. I want to play you guys this clip. Where'd you go? Oh, wrong one.
Uma tested it and got a soul gem from H1C. What the fuck is happening? Do they deliver their inner office memos with fucking carrier pigeons that have Down syndrome? What the fuck is going on in that office?
Is there supposed to be audio in this clip?
I see the audio, yeah. I'm just making a
Okay,
new
we don't hear
sound.
it, I
I'm
think.
laughing so hard at making a new
Alright.
sound. GG, never mind. I'll repost the clip. Yeah, it actually shows in OBS that like the audio
I
is
think we
going.
can kind of pick it up. I think we can kind of pick it up without seeing the audio. Just watching your reaction, you just get up and disappear from the screen.
Yeah,
You can hear it on stream. You just can't hear it on our end.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, fun times. So yeah, that kind of a little bit annoying, and also I couldn't chat. Right, we couldn't chat in the blood pack, so I ended up having to go to another account, right, in order to be able to chat in the blood pack, and that was a whole debacle. And yeah, so I ended up playing for like 10 days in the blood pact or so, and then Andy came out. We went and played Andy for a little bit, and I told myself, hey, I'll come back and I'll play SSF because I really wanted to do the Grail stuff. But I'll be honest with you, what stopped me from coming back and playing the Grail is thinking about boss drops and having to go farm 40 Reaper shards to get nothing. And like, it doesn't have to be heroic or doesn't have to be a boss specific every single time, but the fact that like I'm literally getting nothing for it just made me like crash out and not want to play.
As the next season, you should be able to farm them a little bit easier with the like Atlas tree.
Yeah, well, there's that, and so today actually there's a patch note. I don't know if you're aware of this, but they made it so that all drops from Ubers are heroic rarity now.
Yeah. To be completely honest, I'm on a little bit out of the loop, like what's happening in the game.
No, like it literally was like a couple hours ago. Fuma just randomly put it in Gen Chat. I'm like, huh.
Yeah, and I'm like, I've been doing the videos last like 2 months straight, and I haven't done anything else, so I haven't really followed what the guys have been changing.
Yeah, and so it kind of brings up the point too, where we're talking about Lucy Crown and those sorts of things. How do you guys feel about like mid-season nerfs? Do you think that was something that should have been like managed within the season?
Well, I think the item shouldn't have been that accessible in the first place, but
Fair.
yeah, probably should have been nerfed. I think it should have been nerfed in the beta already, because didn't we know it's gonna be broken as hell?
Right. Right. Well, I mean, it's nerfed before season 9 beta, but I'm talking about like mid-season, like after only 2 or 3 days of the season starting. If there's however many people have it or people start catching on to it, do we take care of that situation before it gets out to the bigger masses, or do we just let people play with it? Because we're talking like that item was taking builds from doing like 50 billion single target to doing like trillions, which is insane.
Well, not to be the one to jump it, but I mean, we got to talk about the elephant in the room if we're going to talk about this item. The item duplications really made any approach at any kind of balance, even partway through the season. I don't want to say it would be moot, but it would be insanely impossible considering that the entire landscape of the game now has been changed. And I know that that's been, there's things being addressed for that, but
Mm-hmm.
it really, it would cause a lot more consideration in that regard.
Right. If you have an item that's being massively duped within the season, for sure that affects a lot more people because more people are going to be using that item, but it's still a bug regardless. It's no different
Feels
than
like
when
more of a
PoE.
reason.
Remember PoE did Purposeful Harbinger. They nerfed that like 3 weeks after the season started, still because it was just too broken for the game. Didn't matter that everybody was trying to do it.
It's more of a reason to head it off at the pass. You're never going to make anybody fully happy in your entire audience doing mid-season nerfs because you're going to have the people that already purchased an item, and they're going to be the people upset when you nerf it. But then if it gets out to the masses, especially if you have an issue with item duplication, heading it off at the pass is a better choice because the game overall's longevity is less harmed. Even if you piss off a couple people that spent like a couple million gold on it. But it's hard to do those kind of changes until it hits a mass and you suddenly see it's a problem on the radar.
Yeah, and I know in the past they've done some changes before, and I think a lot of times what happens isn't so much that they're afraid to do changes a couple days after the season. It's that it causes so many other issues. Like you remember whenever they nerfed Samurai, were you guys here for that? I don't remember. So that there was the projectile speed within Samurai, and they ended up like nerfing that. But what happened was is they nerfed all projectile speed in the entire game. So like any skill that had a projectile in it was super slow. I don't know if you guys are here for that, but
Oh, I
it's
remember.
like one
Yeah, I do remember.
Was that
Obviously.
season? Oh, I think I remember.
season 5. Yeah, it's season.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was season 5, right? Yeah.
So maybe it's just one of those situations where it's like, I don't know. It's
Well, I can give you like a little bit inside information that Elias doesn't really want to do mid-season nerfs unless it's like really have to do if it's like honestly a bug. And I think in the Samurai case it was a bug. And I think in the Lucifer's Crown case, we were somewhat aware that the item is gonna be like the most wanted item in the game. But then we just decided to let it slip through the nets, so to say. I'm
Yeah.
not sure why did people. I think Starflex did mention it in the beta that it's gonna be giga broken, but
mhm.
I don't know. We just decided against it, like not to nerf it.
Well, and I think it goes. I mean, not wanting to nerf things that unless they're bugs, but I mean, you had like Shadow Carver that could be used on casters. You had Marksman's Gunner Drone Augment that was shotgunning and was a bug that was fixed. So it's like, I don't know. It's like where do we start drawing this line at with that? I guess.
Yeah, it's really hard because it's
Yeah.
not like my decision. I personally don't really want to do
Mhm.
mid-season nerfs because then you open like kind of worms that people
Yeah.
will be afraid. Like if next season something's OP, are they gonna nerf? So
Yeah.
that's why there should be a strict line that I'd rather not nerf and just let it slide for one season if it's the angelic item. But like the main issue was that it's because of the dupes, everyone got him, so to say.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, and that it kind of goes to me. It kind of goes in with what Sleepy was saying about like finding that level of like, okay, if something is doing insane amounts of damage and it needs to be nerfed, yeah, you're always going to upset somebody. But getting that under control for the longevity and the quality of the season is valid. And I
Yeah.
think that's one that it obviously it's a hard line, and we could probably sit here and talk about when that's the right decision for the next hour. But some of them probably are very straightforward. You're doing you're the only build out there doing 10 trillion damage because of a single item. All right, we can probably approach that, you know.
Yeah, and I guess that answers kind of the question too of there's also the situation where I feel like so many things in the game just do so much damage that aren't bugs or that aren't situations like this where it's like, okay, well, yeah, this was a bugged interaction or this was causing this character to do too much damage. We should nerf that or we should fix that. But there's also 6 other things that can do just as much and aren't bugs or problems. So it's like, where do you even draw that line?
It's a problem
Yeah.
too if it's a item or a class. Like there's a
Yeah.
huge distinction if you're nerfing an item or a class. You nerf an item, you're gonna have less pushback from an audience. But if you nerf a class, that's identity, that's time, that's something people really invest themselves in. So
Okay.
fixing a class in the middle of the season is oof.
If you could pick,
But that
Yeah.
is also kind of the harder side of it, because at least from like, you know, development side, I'm sure Rexy would agree with this. You nerf an item, now you have to revisit every class. You nerf a class, and it's a little easier to kind of hone in on that one specific issue.
yeah.
Well,
So-
in the Lucifer's case, it just broke everything. So it would have been easy nerf in my opinion, but I think we just decided against it even in the beta, and that's that. People
Yeah.
want to have like mage spot tier items, but definitely the Lucifer's Crown was like a giga oversight even in that case.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't, like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on season 8. So if you could pick
Yeah.
one best and one worst part of season 8, what would it be?
Probably
Well,
best part. Ooh, the best part.
I know
I feel
for
like
me,
there was well, go ahead, Rex.
yeah,
You start.
yeah, I know for me the best part would have been that the target farming felt way better, like way better, miles better. Having a percentage of the rolls, like when you drop a heroic, have the rolls go towards that zone specific heroic made such a difference. In blood packs and even like open beta, I was going crazy in open beta, I dropped basically my entire build in the open beta in 3 days, just target firing them out. Now, I did play a lot of hours, obviously, but still, yeah, that was really nice.
I would say probably. I mean, it may not be the best part, but I think one that I really enjoyed the premise of was the sieges. I think they're a great idea. I think the community enjoyed them. I think they're a interesting thing to encounter. Um, Worst of it has to be the item dupe. You know, this season really just got flooded hard, and it put a lot of. I saw a lot of people who did not understand their class that just clearly were, oh, okay, I've got money to buy this because it's so abundant, or given items that they just, you know, people coming in a week after the start with 6, 7 angelics. It's like, that's not. It really caused an issue for the season, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, and I mean, absolutely.
does Cat want to go next or should I?
Yeah, you can just bet in whenever. Doesn't really matter.
Well, I don't actually, since I didn't play that much. I think I was really happy with the season overall. Like everything was in quite okay state instead of or except the Lucifer's Crown, and of course the dupes were the worst thing. But other than that, I felt like we're going constantly the right direction. I didn't have any like one thing that I was really happy with. I think we did a ton of good stuff.
You took a target farming from me as my favorite, so I'm gonna pick a different one, which was a very close. Which was overloaded dice were sick.
Ooh.
I absolutely love those dice. I think they're really cool with what they did to abilities with the sub skills. I think that was awesome. How it could like exceed the max level normal and just make the whole skill feel completely different, if not a little too powerful. Worst was vaults.
Yeah.
Yeah, vaults.
That's actually our next topic. That's the next thing we're gonna move into. But before we do that, Ozzy, do we have anything from chat that we kind of want to brush up on?
We have one question. Calran asks, can we get the OST as background music for in-game, maybe akin to the hideout music player in PoE?
Yeah, I think Ella has been actually uploading the music to our YouTube channel. We just need to request the exact track. But yeah, should be possible.
Easy. All right, everybody DM Elias and tell him to hurry up. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's pop open some marbles real quick. Holy, it's marbles time, boys. Everybody, exclamation point play. You get a chance to win some game keys. And while that's going on, yeah, vaults. I don't think I did a single vault the entire time. I actually don't think I did a single vault all of season 8.
I don't think I ever actually got one open. I've got a bunch of them, but I don't think I ever actually got one to open. Not that I
Took me
targeted
3
them,
days.
but
Well, and I think what happened was you couldn't get them for the first 3 days, right? The loot filter
Yeah.
was like hiding them.
Yeah, I think so too as well.
Yeah, you could only get like the heroic or the unholy one. So you would get one, and I remember seeing Jobos. It was like kill 10 Amun Ra's and kill like all these different bosses, and you know what the reward was? Like 3 orbs. Like for me, vaults felt like probably one of the most undercooked mechanics we've gotten in Hero Siege. That was also the most time consuming. That gave such a small reward. Like I just didn't like them at all. I felt they were completely useless. Like you could have just removed them from the season and it wouldn't have made any difference.
Yeah, I guess Elias thought about them like that they would be some sort of just a bonus thing in the end game, but the amounts were pretty ridiculous if you need to kill like 10 pinnacle bosses, so to say.
I think they had a great potential. But yeah, they needed a little more work. But I think they do have great potential, and I think the fan base could actually really enjoy them. But they need more work.
They'll be good
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
They have the potential to be really good side content, something that you constantly have ticking while you're farming other things, which is really good to have in a game. That constant passive sense of incremental increase and wealth accrual through like a secondary source while doing your main target.
Exactly. You know, nothing like you're going along and all of a sudden something really good drops and you're like, oh man, sweet, that finally opened. Like, it's nice to every now and then get something just for kind of existing in the game, not so much target farming. And yeah, you do have the random drop, but it does feel like something you can really count on. And I think that would work very well for a lot of players.
Yeah.
Yep, good idea, poorly executed pretty much.
Well, the good news is now vaults will roll an act, right? And you'll kill monsters, legions, and bosses in that act. I think that was probably the bigger problem with vaults is you would get one and it would say go kill lizards or whatever, and it's like I don't even know what that mob type is, and there was nowhere you could go to find that information. So like not only like new players, just no way in hell. So the answer was go into Discord, pray somebody wasn't going to Lmao you but not knowing where it's at, and then half the time nobody knows where the stuff's at anyway. Just the whole system was just, to be honest with you, I don't know how to made it out of season 8 beta in the state that it was in. Like I really couldn't tell you.
Yeah, and I also think that one of the monster types was something that boss was summoning, so I'm pretty sure Elias just pulled it out some like all monster pool that what it can roll.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we move on to codexes and tarot cards?
Yeah. I'm just doing a quick.
Yeah.
We're kind of doing Marvel at the same time. I was gonna have.
Yeah.
I can do it a different way, but this is the easiest way for right now.
That's fun. I'm watching the stream.
Did anybody find anything useful from a vault? Did you actually drop anything? Nobody in here did one.
Nope.
Yeah.
I didn't do any.
Yeah.
No.
And as far as kind of the same deal with codexes, other than like the Chaos Pillar Codex, did anyone engage with codexes? You have that one, and you have the stack deck one, right? But did anyone engage with codexes at all from season 8? Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Tons of codexes. Whew.
Which ones were you making?
Primarily the Chaos Pillars. A lot of group content. with players, the Chaos Pillars,
Right. So
unless it was for specific targeting, essences or the mimic one.
It's kind of good to hear that some people actually enjoy them, because I personally have always hated the codexes, but glad that people actually do enjoy them.
well, that was kind of what I was saying. Other than the Chaos Pillar farming and other than the Rogue Chaos Towers that you kind of have to do is like, what other codexes are we actually doing?
Mm.
Just the ones that are for the essences that you use to get those codexes.
Yeah. And I feel like codexes could have, I don't know, they could be better if this back around. They could be better if there was another content that you were doing that was dropping the codex to allow you to go in and do the codex instead of the codex being the main content. Does that make sense? So like a mapping system, if you were going and doing maps and then you were dropping orbs and codexes and those sorts of things as like an extra on top of it, then it wouldn't be a big deal. And you could argue that like the actual campaign is the mapping system, but it just, we all know that doesn't feel the same. It's like an actual map system. But I don't know.
Well, and no, go ahead, finish your.
That was my thought. Yeah, that was my thought.
Oh, okay. I have kind of a unique view on this. I'm pretty sure. I think the codexes should only have a direct target farm mechanic to them. I think it would be a positive move for them, kind of a lateral shift, get away from that so much being the farming method. Whether it's the goblins or the chaos pillars, when you have a mechanic like that is I don't want to say the only way to do it, but when that's the main way to farm as much as possible, as quickly as possible, that becomes kind of the pigeonhole of the item, making it to where codexes only like increased chance for whatever mechanic, tower, portals, etc., or mimics, etc., would make it to where you're more utilizing them as a means to do the other content that you want to do, instead of it being just the kind of the end game. That's kind of what it turned into.
Yeah, you're not pulling up a codex early on to go farm for XP or go. I mean, you might do like a relic one on a new character, but other than that, so I guess
Right.
on the flip side of that, for season 9, how would that work with the ether tree? Wouldn't the ether trees provide the same thing?
Well, and conceivably it could run parallel to it, to where like if you're, as an example, if you're spec'd into Chaos Tower. Well, that's a bad example because Chaos Tower takes time, but Unstable Rift. Like you just want to be hitting as many unstable rifts and burning them as fast as you can. You spec into unstable rifts and then run a rift codex, and you're basically, 9 out of 10 clears, you're getting that rift. So it's a means to really get the content that you want. And I'm not saying this is right, but
it's
I feel like the community might appreciate that more, instead of, like I said, I mean, I saw a number of people that's basically what they did towards the kind of the end of the heavy flow of this season, was basically just pillars. Okay, we're going to be doing some pillar codexes.
Well, and like I said, they became a situation like the pillar codex was the only reason people were doing it was obviously because you were getting the most loot out of it, and there wasn't like, I'm going into the codex because I want to farm mining materials, or I want to go in the codex because I want to farm unstable rifts, or I want to go in the codex, I want to be able to farm some of these other mechanics to be able to do whatever. It was what gives me the most loot, and that was the only one that was ever ran.
I think what makes the ether tree more attractive than codexes is the fact that ether tree is more targeted. Codexes have too much randomness to them. The zone is random, the time is random. When you slam an essence on them, that's random. All of it is not deterministic at all, where the ether tree, you're picking exactly what you want to do, which is better for players overall.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna go too much into the tree right now because we're gonna talk about this later. But the more and more that we kind of bring it up now, the more I'm just like, man, this tree's gonna need loadouts in it, because the amount that you're gonna have to reset that tree in order to get it to be for the whatever content that you're farming. Like you change what you're doing in Hero Siege all the time, literally all the time. Like on a per day basis, I probably change my farm method at least 10 times. Unless I'm doing like, a soul gem farm or something, but
I
Do the
do
same with
hope
the
to
hero tree.
see. I do hope to see a little bit more of kind of what like mining as an example. I really hope to see a little bit more use of some of the rune word codexes that no one ever really utilizes in uh, pairing with the tree, to where it's like, man, I really need, as an example, elemental gems take a ton of jadenium. You got to burn through jadenium powder, and being able to target farm that through the tree and then utilize like a codex rune word to really help just ramp that, I think is a really cool aspect that I think a lot of players will appreciate.
yeah. The same thing with tarot card crafting. The tarot cards, again, I couldn't tell you how they made it out of Season 8's beta in that state. That's literally, you could have removed them from the game and I wouldn't have even noticed them. It was really cool. Like, the Unholy Sieges were sick. You go to the Unholy Siege, there was like portals you could get, see the mimics, pillars, whatever. That was really cool. But I remember after a week of playing in the Blood Pact, I went to the craft station to dump my cards, and I got like some orbs. I think maybe one heroic. I didn't think I got a heroic after a week. I'm like, this is the most useless League mechanic I've ever seen.
Yeah, it does seem like one of those things that I think there's great potential in it, and I think with a little bit
Yeah.
more work, it will be. I think it'll be a great addition to the game. But
It's
yeah, it definitely felt unfinished for sure.
Yeah, it felt unfinished. Well, and I think what the problem was is they added the fucking the tarot card codex, right? Which made it rain tarot cards everywhere. Like, why didn't we take all of the raining that happened from an end game codex? Where, by the way, nobody at that point in the game needs the gear that's dropping from the raining of stacked decks. They have the builds to be doing it because they're in Inferno. So why are they getting all the loot? Why not put all of that loot back into people that are farming Hell 1, Hell 3, Hell 5 because they're trying to progress their characters? It didn't make sense to me at all. Why? And it's something I think I have actually brought that up in the Season 8 beta, and it's just, yeah, I think it was just too late at that point or something. So I don't know. I was really
Yeah.
disappointed in the whole stack deck farming because I remember when I did start streaming the beta and started talking about some things, I was like showing people, that you could do these Unholy Sieges and they would drop divination cards, and we were going to be doing this stack deck farm. Like, I was super excited about it. I didn't even know how like actually useless it was until the season started. And I'm like, okay, I got some orbs. Sick, dude. Because, yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm not entirely convinced having items locked behind the tarot cards. It's a I don't know. It's kind of the same thing like putting items behind like the gamble machine
Mm-hmm.
as an example. Like I don't know. Like there's a part of me that just kind of like looks at it and goes, I don't know about this. Maybe I'm the select few on it, but
I feel like the tarot cards for me was them dropping meant nothing to me. And to me, the concept I had in my head was like, why don't you just make these rarer, but make the crafts more powerful? Like, you do multiple things. You make them rarer with less cost to craft, and that way a card dropping feels impactful. You feel something. Because with the current way it works, you're just killing unholy sieges and cards are dropping, your pet's picking up these heroic things, it's on your loot window, but you never care
No.
unless you get one of the angelic or unholy ones.
Eh.
So it just feels like another gem dropping on the ground.
Yeah, and I don't think I ever did. I don't think I ever dropped one of those angelic or divine ones. And I don't even know if they're a different color, if they look any different, if they have a different size, if they have a different sound, if they have anything. So I also think it would have made a lot of sense too, is every card felt like the same card, right? They could have made it so that obviously ones that are a bit lesser quality might have been maybe smaller, so that whenever something, a bigger one did drop, like you felt it, like as you're saying, maybe you got a different loot filter sound, maybe you got something to be like, oh shit, like I'm excited that I got this, versus I dropped like the Faceless Priest 16 billion times and I couldn't tell you what that card does. So
yeah, and that is a really good point of making it to where anytime that like you drop something that's supposed to be important and it's just not, you just lose all interest in it. It makes even if it's a well done mechanic, like if it doesn't do a lot for you, you start not caring about that mechanic. So they could have taken a lot of time to do this, and the community wouldn't have responded well to it anyway. Plus, it taking now we've got to worry about it taking up space. The cards are big, so now it's something that you don't really care about. It's now something that you can't tell your follower not to pick up, and so it's taking up space. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, so I
If
feel
I
like
may add my 2 cents on this one, I think that at times Elias just has like this Diablo 2 psychosis that he wants things to be really, really rare, and that kind of fucks everything up. Because if you guys ever played Diablo 2, I never got like high rune in the game, and I played like I'd say thousands of hours. So it's really absurd in that game.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I'm pretty sure that tarot cards, yeah.
I would say all of us here probably have. We've all probably played D2. Maybe I don't want to say more than you because I don't know your history, but we're all D2 gamers, like pretty hardcore D2. I would say more so like PD2 and stuff like that now, obviously, but I can't tell you how many hours I have in D2. And I
Yeah,
agree.
but like in PD, you actually have quite okay drop rates, and
player.
But like in the original D2, it was like beyond retarded how hard it was to get the items.
Yeah, it's super interesting knowing Elias and knowing like because right now he's playing D2R. He's been playing like hardcore paladin and whatnot, and it's super interesting seeing his take of loot and just gaming in general, and then looking at Hero Siege and being like, how the fuck did that happen? like you are your game is completely opposite of what you are like saying you like in games, other than obviously the loot drop, right?
I did joke about the Elias or with Elias at one point that I asked him if he was like bipolar, because sometimes it goes like way like in the other direction.
Yeah, and that's also why he's got other people around him, obviously, like Fuma and you and some of us that are, we're a bit more blasters. We understand that we don't want the game to feel like poo too, right? So.
Well, and that also brings kind of another good point of like you were talking about so long going without a high rune drop, and that's kind of the double-edged sword to it is if you make something too rare, then it doesn't drop, and people sit there and just go, "Oh, it doesn't even matter because I'm never going to get one to drop," and you don't want that either. The balance is, not to minimize it, but it's a very different or difficult thing to do, and it matters. It matters to everybody that's playing.
Yeah, we're gonna shift focus a little bit. We can talk about kind of one more thing in regards to like season 8, I guess, would be Destiny shards. And so Ben, you're probably the only one that can really answer this because I didn't play enough of season 8 and neither did Cat really. Did you star level your gear much? And how much?
Oh yeah.
And was it and was it just about getting the all skills, or did you care about anything else on the items other than just getting more skills?
Well, I can tell you at least for like Lightning Pally as an example, star levels were really, really big. Because for a number of the pieces, I was able to increase the minus to enemy res, and that opened up slots in other spaces to help me fit bigger, stronger pieces into the build. So at least for me, star levels was a big part of helping make things work. And I'm sure that there are other builds that could say the same thing. But I don't like that they were a one-size-fits-all mechanic. Having it to where everything from a SS tier Satanic all the way up to Angelic utilizes the same thing was just it just didn't feel right. I think it should have been a little more spaced out.
Yeah, and I think a big part of this too, and one reason that like I like star leveling because it's cool. Next season for season 9, they've removed star leveling all skills. It's not part of the formula anymore. But I think it's a situation where you can only increase the stats of cookie cutter items or of items that already have predetermined stats. I can't go and like craft a mythic with certain things that I want on that item and then beef them up. I have to take all the other things that come on that item, which in a lot of cases in this game, especially heroics, a lot of them have, like all res and physical damage reduction, like some of the things that you'll want. But the fact that I can't just tailor my build, maybe I'm a life stacker and I want to put mythics on my entire character all the way around that has just a bunch of life everywhere and like physical damage reduction, I can't target those things. There's no way to craft that. So I just have to just go with what the game gives me on heroics and satanics. That's just my take on it. I think it's kind of like a different part of it. Obviously, Star Living still provides you more juice on the items that you have. I guess I wish that I was able to increase stats that I wanted to increase and not what the game tells me that I have to increase.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, the most fun. Yeah, the most fun I had with the star levels ever was with the like low level satanics when I was playing solo self-found. Then the even bad items like the Raven Cowring or whatever, it actually became pretty good item with the level 5. Solo self-found wise.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alrighty.
I do think the other thing though is like maybe just making, because the premise, from what I've been told, the premise was it's kind of supposed to be the cherry on top, the icing on the cake. And for a lot of them, and like you said, taking the all skill away makes that to where that's kind of what it is. It's just there to just give you that little extra edge that you needed. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's overall a good decision.
Mm-hmm. Ozzy, do we have anything from this in the last little bit? Anything that we should kind of cover real quick?
We do have a few questions. First, would it be possible to get a loot filter separate for the companions? It has been noted that when low-grade materials are very full, they never stop picking them up and overfilling the inventory room.
Well, definitely, I can tell that everything is possible. It just like depending on how high priority we put it, so to say. But definitely, we can do it.
Okay. Another question for Rexy. How hard would it be for you guys to introduce a craft that would allow us to trade or salvage tarot cards to make new ones?
Pretty easy. I'd say Juicy could cook it in like in 1 hour, or Elias.
Okay. And then lastly, how is the new tree going to impact the whole dynamic of the game overall? And also, would we consider renaming Hero Siege into Path of Hero Siege for the next season?
I think we're gonna talk about the tree later on in the podcast.
Actually, right now, it's literally
Oh,
our
yeah.
next topic.
Mhm.
So yeah, so for those that aren't aware, Hero Siege is adding 2 new skill trees for season 9. The first one is behind us. It's this big ass 1500 node tree that we have chilling. The other one is called the Ether tree. Right, this is more of a PoE's Atlas passive tree. My face keeps turning into Trump, and I can't stop it, guys. I can't stop it. So here's what it looks like. Don't know how many nodes are on it. It might change. It might look completely different now. I think this is the last one, the last iteration that we've seen, and it's been like a month and a half, 2 months since I've last seen this tree. So it could be completely different now, but we are getting an Atlas passive tree. So the glyphs that we have in game now that you guys are putting in the incarnation tree, those are being removed, and a lot of the juicing that you will be doing will be through this Atlas passive tree. Right. For those of you that want to see what is on this tree, or at least some of the things that will be on the tree, there is a command, right? There's a Google spreadsheet that will go through all the nodes, so you can kind of get an idea of like what this tree is capable of doing here. And so that brings up my first question when it comes to the passive tree, for the characters is, I mean, how do you guys think this is really going to affect the game? In what ways are we? I mean, obviously it's going to bring out more build diversity and that sort of thing, but I mean, does this 1500 node tree, does this match the current difficulty of the game? Does the power that we're getting from the tree match the current difficulty of the game?
So
No.
overall, I would say no.
Yeah.
We're gonna be really beefy for sure. But I do love the tree. Right now, I think, and not that I'm gonna like broadcast these to the populace, because I don't want to like solve the game if you're a paladin player. but I'm working on I think 13 or 14 different unique builds for Paladin for the beta and next season because of the tree. I'm super jazzed about it. And I mean, these are things like there's a Sentry build for Paladin that I want to do. There's a Spark build that I'm already working on. Lightning tornadoes that you throw like you were a druid throwing tornadoes. I mean, it's super exciting. I'm sure a lot of people are really excited about it as well. You guys, but I love the tree. I think it's great.
Yeah. Of those 13 or 14 builds that you're starting to work on, how many of them have the same path, the same like tree essentially?
Not many. Like the ones that I listed off, all completely different. Like I've got one that's going to be based around explosion, another one that's based around
Okay.
orbital, another one that's based around AOE. Like
Right.
I'm trying to keep diversity.
Right. So it's diversity in the tags in which that you're going for, but if you had builds that were all orbital builds, or if you had builds that were like multiple builds that were AoE or multiple builds that were ailment, wouldn't those theoretically be basically the same tree?
Kind of. Now Paladin is a little different in this regard in that one side of my tree is attack speed, the other side is cast. And so that's going to put a bit more variety into it. And I don't know, that might be a bit different for other classes. But like, I'll give you an example. An orbital build in Lightning compared to Arcane is the difference between cast and attack speed. So the tree is going to be built differently as well.
Fair enough. That's just one thing I noticed because I've done a lot of like build theory crafting stuff as well on stream, and I feel like I'm getting to this point where it's like, okay, I'm making an ailment build. I go here, I go here, I go here, I go here. I know that that's my build because I basically have to take these things if I'm playing an ailment build, and then I'm left with like, I don't know, maybe 40 points, give or take, of play points. So,
I don't know if you can escape that kind of thing with any passive tree in any game. There's always
Yeah.
going to be those standout nodes where it's like this is the pivotal node for this type of damage or this survivability or this level of what I need for this build.
well,
So yeah, ailments builds are always going to take this, this, and this.
yeah, and I think the choice will come from, because again, the tree doesn't match the current difficulty of the game. It's going to come down to you have the choice of going maybe a hybrid build. Maybe you go like into the left side of the tree where you get a bunch of like life and damage reduction and blah blah blah, and only take a little bit of the damage. Or maybe you just go like full in glass cannon and get as much AoE scaling as you want, as much damage as you want, whatever. So there is definitely choice, but I think the choice will be much smaller than like PoE, for example, right? I think it's a bit more predetermined on certain things that you would take, but there still is a lot of choice, which I like. Right?
It's
Maybe
easier.
yeah, like maybe you go more FCR based if you're playing like an ailment caster, versus you can not do that and then go with like maybe you'd want to dual wands while you're an ailment caster. There's definitely more minute changes within that. Yeah.
I haven't actually even checked the tree too much because I was making the videos. Only thing I did today check was like the homing nodes, and I was like, you get like 7% chance to get the homing missile proc, and then there is ton of nodes regarding those.
Mm.
And I don't really understand why we have them there, but
Yeah, and I see a comment. I personally like Hero Siege for its simplicity leveling up, and I think the simplicity of this tree is honestly is great. The tree itself, like the 1500 node tree, it looks intimidating, but it's actually so easy to digest. Like I digested it within a day and like understood, okay, here's caster stuff, here's attack stuff, here's range stuff, here's survivability, and then like where a couple things are. Like within a day or two, I knew pretty much the whole tree, and like I could go and make a build with any skill right now out of it. Pretty like it felt really easy to digest and understand.
I will say that is one thing that I think is going to happen with it is to me it feels like the tree is doing a decent job of being more an accentuation. You don't necessarily base your entire build around it. There are going to be some builds that it's like, okay, you can now do this because of the tree, but I feel like it's like Path of Exile, you have to hit certain nodes. Period. Your build does not work at all. Like even badly, it doesn't work, and it doesn't feel quite the same way, at least at this moment with Hero Siege. And I hope we keep that kind of same vibe. You know, it's more to help your build be stronger at what it's supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah, it should be like extra like hero levels was. That's the whole idea there, but I'm not sure like where it's gonna go from here.
Well, one thing that I'll say is, so back in season 5, right, the game added 800 augments into the game, right? There was all these trees, 800 augments, and everything else that comes with them. How many of these augments do you think the player base actually engages with? Like a percent. How many do you think they actually would engage with? I don't know if we have a stat somewhere for that.
I think we actually might have in our intro, because I asked Robert to cook one, because I wanted to show Elias how many have been like dead on arrival and how many we should be like remaking.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say it's probably something like 30 to 40%, maybe.
Yeah.
Would be my guess.
I would argue myself. You have 800 of them. I would argue maybe 15%. Obviously, he's got stats to a certain degree of like people that are like trying certain things, but I would say like of actual builds that people are playing, like 10-15% maybe.
Could be.
And part of that's, you know, obviously creators and people making guides towards specific things and pushing people a certain direction because that's what they found the most fun, or, you know, whatever it may be. So would it have made more sense for Paz to spend that time making the augments attractive versus just going this skill tree? Like, I guess my real question here is this skill tree, does it feel like a meaningful choice, or was it just overwhelming bloat to target system familiarity within the PoE community?
No, I think the whole idea was, at least I requested multiple times that I want more defensive options because I played a ton of hardcore and I felt like I didn't have any options, like not even in the hero level system. And this at least introduced those. And then, well, I think the tree exploded a little bit as usual when you're working with Elias. I think things go over the top. But I still do agree with you totally that we should fix like most of the augmented skills so that every skill would actually even have like two good augments, because there's so many like still dead. And I think it's somewhat shameful if new player comes, picks some augment that sounds cool, and it doesn't like barely even work.
Yeah, and I guess that's exactly my point. Is like I'm all in favor of having this skill tree, and hopefully this skill tree will bring some of these augments to life. But what I don't want to see happen is just every season we just get bloat, and then we have 4 seasons where these augments still haven't worked. I as a player, I personally would have rather seen some of these augments get reworked and fixed than to get this tree. Personally, because at least I'm familiar with the game and the current systems that are happening in the game, and I'm not being thrown a whole other system that literally does, I don't want to say it does nothing for the augments, but if the augments are dead on arrival, this tree is going to fix maybe 5% of those. So we still have a situation where we have, 40% of 40 to 50% of the augments that are doing nothing, or that people aren't even just going to use. Does that make sense? That's just kind of how I look at it, but
yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's just like we only have one front-end coder still. I hope that Robert could maybe pick up something, but I'm not sure if Elias wants to like allow him or trust him to pick up some front-end coding, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get to fix them.
Yeah, and I definitely get that side of it, but that kind of also just feeds into my point of if you only had one coder, then why do 1,500 nodes versus the other 50% of augments that we have that are dead? You know what I mean? So
yeah, I do.
And I think
no worries.
And I also think that to a degree that the passive tree, I don't know, maybe it could just make it say just delete the ones that aren't working with the augments that are just dog shit. Like, just get them out of the game. Just remove them at least, instead of baiting players into running these augments that we know like don't do anything.
Yeah, it's true that we could like disable them for a moment just so that people wouldn't pick them and then feel like really disappointed for it not working or not working like it should.
Well, and it doesn't help that if you're targeting that augment and you're like, man, I finally got 6 angelic keys to test this, and then it doesn't work, that hits even harder. Like that'll especially as like a newer player, that's going to piss you off, and that's never a good thing.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I don't know if you have anything to say on kind of that whole topic, or.
I think the positive is at least we do have the tree, like you said, to
Mhm.
kind of prop up some of these, sub skills or augments to actually make them functional. But that is one thing I've talked about a lot. Like I'm very big on new player experience, and ARPGs are notorious for being really difficult for someone to go into blind. And when you look at a tree like this, and you look at the fact that a lot of the augments are obviously either bugged or just don't function at a high level, that it widens that gap between someone who knows what they're doing and someone who just bought the game yesterday significantly. The good thing about the tree is it's color coded, it's easy to understand. Everyone can kind of get an idea of which side does what. But yeah, I would definitely like to see when it comes to new player experience at one point, even though it's a heavy lift, is what the IT guys always say. It would be a revamp on some of that early new player experience and things like what augments are good or which ones are good to pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So the cool thing is, XP is getting adjusted, right? So Fuma said that it will be slower at the start, but it will ramp up much faster. So you'll obviously get more hero levels. You'll want more hero levels because obviously you have the tree. You want to get more points for the tree. But I guess my question here is, how many hours should it take the average player to hit hero level 90?
Oof.
Like played in game time.
Yeah, played in game time. How long should it take them to get from, we'll say level 100 and hero level 0 to hero level 90? Because I think that's really important, because a lot of people, right, people want to feel like their time is valued, but you don't want to make it too easy. And with us having this skill tree, people should be engaging with it, right? We want them to engage with it. You want them to get character levels. You don't want it to be so like hard for them to get points to be able to fill out their builds.
Well, I think like 50 you should get fairly easy, but like 70 should already be, let's say, something like a 3-day farm. So whatever it's.
Yeah, I think it's also important that we, again, the average player. So you can't base this off of any of us in here and the hours that we play, because 35 Graxy hours is not 35 average player hours. Like it's more like 70 for them, because I know what I'm doing for that 100 that 90 hero levels.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Well, I
kind of
feel like
true.
that's kind of the other thing is like, yeah, we're all kind of in that, not for nothing, we could all just sit here and be like, yeah, we are kind of the 5%. We're we're here for a reason, but our time and involvement, depending on the person, is very different. The player who only has, an hour or two a day to play twice a week doesn't have the same level of investment that they're capable of, but it doesn't mean that they shouldn't be able to play the game. So it's a tough line to draw, and I think that's part of why everyone like, how many hours should it take? And we all just sat there and like, oh God, why would you ask us this?
Yeah,
It's such a tough question.
well, and I think it brings, it makes us think in a casual player's perspective. It's, as a streamer, sometimes like we think in a casual player's perspective, but sometimes we don't. 35 hours, let's say average 35 hours to hit hero level 90 to an average player that does have a full-time job. Like, Cat obviously streams pretty much every day after you get off work. So we'll say Monday through Friday, you get, I think, an 8-hour stream in. But for a lot of people that have kids and stuff on top of that, it's maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, if they're able to, like if their family and their wives and whatever allow them to do that. So 35 hours is either a full work week or even more than a full work week for them just to hit hero level 90 on one character.
It's difficult because when you're looking at something as a seasonal game, you can't have any one thing take too long. The thing I think should be the longest in a seasonal RPG is like a Grail. That should be your longest thing, in my opinion. When you're looking at something like how long should it take to hit like the optimal, I can take the majority of passives, like maybe like hero level 90, hero level 100. The quicker people get there is the potential that they stop playing quicker because they plateau on their character's progression and development. But if you look at like someone who plays like 2 hours a day, say we put a lofty goal of 150 hours on getting that level, 2 hours a day, that's 75 days.
Yeah.
That's still a lot of time, but as a seasonal game, you have to balance between how long you want people playing and how rewarded they feel. So I think like 50, 60, even upwards of that is fine for something like that for people in the game like Hero Siege.
Well, I would argue less, and to your point of like, well, people will plateau quicker, but we also have people that want to skip the campaign and they want XP curves and they want to go faster.
That's fair. That's fair. You
So it's
also
like-
have to look at it from, if it's fast, you have alts as well.
Mhm.
You have alts to talk about when it comes to like people doing other things instead of just plateauing and like stop playing. So less time does have the advantage that people can explore other classes.
Mhm. And I think a large majority of players, and this is something that maybe that the boys will need to pull, but I think majority of players would rather get more hero levels and be able to roll alts and play and have, you know, some XP curve for alts and to play the game more with other characters than to spend more time on that one singular character. Generally speaking. Some people just like playing one character and that's it. That's all they ever want to do for an entire season. But I feel like most people want to play multiple classes. And if you have a number that hits hero level 90 that takes way too long for that first character, even the XP catch-up mechanic now also becomes longer, right? So I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah, so my answer was 35 casual hours. But I mean 50 casual hours, sure. I think we're all
it's a good
somewhere pretty
idea.
close. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna need that level just for how powerful the tree is. People are gonna want those points so bad.
Yep. Also, do we think there should be an XP catch-up mechanic?
Yeah, and there should be actually.
There will be.
Something like if you already have a character on 70 hero level, you will get to like 50 way easier. But I'm not sure like exactly how it's gonna work. But there should be something like that.
Yeah, and I think whenever I was building out characters in like theory crafting, I feel like majority of my build was like 40 or 50 points. I didn't feel like I needed 80 or 90 points to make my build feel like it was a build. Right? So that's a good thing too. You get 40 or 50 points, even those other characters, those alts that you're rolling will still have that catch-up mechanic. So like hitting 40 or 50 for most people a day or two. Right? Like I can hit 40 or 50 and even now in a day easily if it's an alt. So
Well, and that is one of the good things I think you touched on, you just said, being able to get to the important nodes to actually make the build like, not so much make the build function, but make it feel like the build that it should be. That's really important because you don't want to sit there and have to grind it out with the build not functioning the way that you want.
Yeah. As far now, so moving on with the ether tree, I'm super excited for the ether tree. I don't really have anything bad to say about the ether tree. I think removing the glyphs, I fucking hated glyphs. I haven't done like a glyph XP farm. I don't know how many seasons because glyphs can. I'm glad that they're being thrown into the trash can.
Amen to that.
They
Yeah,
suck.
I couldn't really think of a whole lot of controversial questions on this one. Do you guys have any concerns or thoughts? The tree, the ether tree loadout is probably my biggest feedback towards it, but
I want to see what Elias will do with the codexes, because I think you shouldn't be allowed to do like the Tower codexes and have the Ether tree overlapping with that, because it's gonna be probably be pretty boring. Everyone's gonna be farming that.
fair. Well,
And there was some discussions with the codexes that there should be something done with them, but I'm not actually entirely sure where did that like discussion finish off.
Well, and I would argue that certain codexes, yes, right? They'll be using certain codexes, but I don't think really anyone's gonna care to use the relic codex or maybe the mining codex they would. I feel like if it did overlap, it would make people want to do more than just the meta OP whatever codex, right? It gives reason to go and try and do maybe the mining ones or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. People don't like mining in general, so maybe it wouldn't do shit.
Yeah, but is there like now know that you can skip the mini game, or did it actually make the Ether tree? I at least
Yeah, see that would be
tried that.
OP. That I would see it all day long. I would do that. All right. Ozzy, do you have anything for us?
We do have a few questions. Firstly, will the Atlas tree be account-wide or character-specific?
Character specific as of right now. I think this question has been brought up to Elias probably 16 billion times as if Paragon or if hero levels will ever be account wide. And he has mentioned it 10 billion times that account levels will never be account wide. He also has said things, some other things would never happen in a million years, and here we are. So
Yeah,
you never
never
know.
honestly know.
All right. And then how will we get the points to spend on the Ether tree?
You will get them starting at character level 100, and then every time you get a hero level, you will get 1 point. As of right now, that could change. Maybe you'll get 2. Maybe you'll get whatever. Right? That's something for the beta testers. Need to test that.
Yeah, the Atlas points you get from like killing bosses and doing all sorts of quests. I'm not entirely sure like where you get all the points, but at least from those.
Oh, that was a question I had. Yeah, about the ether tree, because I thought that there might have been some specific quests that you have to do to unlock points in the ether tree.
Yeah, there will be.
Okay, so that answers my question about that.
And then lastly, will the endgame still be a primary loop of resetting zones, or will we have something more akin to an Atlas tree / map system like PoE?
I don't think there will be like proper map system yet, but I know that Ella is working on like dungeons that it would randomize the layout in the dungeons, so they wouldn't be so boring, so to say, if you run like exact dungeon 20 times. But yeah, the end game still will be pretty much the same, but you will be just target farming different stuff depending on your like Atlas trip.
Yeah. I know there's a new season mechanic. I don't know what it is. I've seen Elias doing it when we were all just chilling in voice. It was like a bunch of like souls were coming towards him, so some like soul collection season mechanic of some kind. So that will be obviously in the next season.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Anything else?
That is all for now.
Sweet. Thank you. Alrighty. Let's take a quick break. If anybody needs to use the restroom or get up and do anything, I'm gonna roll one game of marbles real fast, and then we'll get back to it.
BRB.
Yep.
Good call.
All right, boys. Exclamation point play. Get in here. Get in here. Oh, I didn't do it right. Guys, this is a chance to win game keys. You can give them to your friends. You can give them to family members for Christmas. Be sure that if you play, that you are claiming the prize. Oh. If I win, chat. Okay, so if I win, this is a rule we have. It gets doubled, right? And I've actually won at so many times one time that I had to buy 8 keys. So CBT key to the winner. That could be a fun one time, yeah. Maybe Elias will let me do that. Like we'll have like one per episode or something. We'll give out a random key. All right, 30 seconds and that'll get going here. I think it'll start in 30 seconds. Yeah, okay. Don't get my hopes up. Tell the cat he's slowly vanishing. Dude, I know. I was gonna comment on his like eye sockets at the bottom of his eye sockets. He's see-through. He's actually see-through. Look.
A little piece of me vanishes every couple of minutes. Soon I'll be gone.
I do like the different colored eyebrows. That's kind of cool, you know?
All right, good luck, everybody. Chat, we do have a questionnaire, right? We want to hear from you all. fill out the form. You can help be part of the discussions in future episodes. There's only like 3 questions on there that are like require of you to answer. There's just multiple choice, but there's a bunch of questions in that you're welcome to answer that can give, me and everybody some insight as to things that people want to hear us talk about. Of this giant logo in the middle. Who put that logo in the middle of the screen?
So unprofessional.
Yeah, I didn't think that went through. I thought I had one that was empty. Oh, I do, right there. I'm insane. Did I die? Wait, you can't die on this map. What do you mean, dude? Sir Rude. Holy. All right. Wait, I actually won, god damn it. All right.
Cheater.
Trog, just
Dreamer
it'll be
privilege.
-1, obviously. Up to 4th place. So it's 8 keys. Lol. Oh, we can do it. I don't want to do this. Nah, just do it up. Just do it up to. You know what? Just skip me and do spider. Yeah, just skip me and do spider. So we'll do that for now. Okay.
Wait, Graxy won a key?
Yeah, I won. Normally, whenever I play just by myself with everybody, if I win, I just double whatever the prize is. But I'm not. We're in the top 5, so I technically didn't win, chat. So I'm just gonna remove my spot and let Spider get in.
You should save it for when you inevitably get banned for something.
True.
Should check out Hero Siege. I hear it's a good game.
True. All right. Next up on the list, we have the new boss. Here's a quick picture of him, chat. This is the Architect of Ruin. It's pretty sick, right? I kind of clipped out because I didn't want to show like health bars and all that sort of stuff, just because for reasons. All of us are beta testers in here, right? Should we be allowed to test this boss?
No.
And should we be allowed to stream this boss?
No.
It'd be way funnier if no.
I think you won't be able to.
Well, I mean, it's not so much if we can or not. It's if we're actually going to be allowed to, but like it's more of a should beta testers be able to see content like this in general?
Nah,
Just like
I
a
don't think
theory.
so. Even in like PoE or any other games, I think it's really boring if people get to see the like pinnacle bosses beforehand.
Yeah. So I'm going to show the picture, obviously, just because like this isn't really going to do anything, right? It's just showing you what the guy looks like. We're not showing anything. I already just made sure with Elias that I'm not going to be, showing anything too much. But the reason I bring this up is, there's been situations in the past where beta testers weren't supposed to see bosses, but did. Right? And I won't say whom it was or what the situation was, but it was supposed to be that way. And I'm okay with beta testers seeing a boss and helping test the boss and making sure that things with the boss are fine. But they need to be NDA'd, and nobody should know who they are that's seeing these bosses, right? That person should also not be able to play in trade. They should not be able to play. If they want to play the game, they can play SSF, right? And realistically, they shouldn't be able to play the game for at least a week or 2 after season start. You know how the reason for that, PoE does it as well, just because it's super unfair for those people to be in the actual economy and know how boss mechanics work for like especially brand new bosses.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I think it's better if nobody knows what these are like. We go into it fresh. Everybody has the same chance at defeating the boss at the same time. Nobody knows what it does outside of the developers themselves.
Yeah. And another reason I bring this up is if I'm not trying to sound like I'm attacking, but if the dev team or people want to talk about the boss or whatever that know about the boss, like I already know things about it, and people in the beta do because it's been talked about. It's not fair that information is given to us when everybody else doesn't have that info, right? Because I already know like basic things of what happens in this boss because it's been told to us. So and
Everything is still kind of subject to change, so
that's fair. That's fair. I don't think this one's gonna change. It's kind of like a big feature of the boss, right? So as much as I love teases, I don't want the teases to be things like this where it's mechanics where beta knows it but nobody else does, because guess what, we are going to be logging in on day one and playing the game and trade, and it's just really unfair that like I'm already dealing with a lot of people that think that, you know, that myself, Ben, Cat, whomever, these creators that are playing in the beta already are gatekeeping information, and then we are told information that, you know, it's just bad juju all the way around, right?
well, it's Elias' problem.
Yeah, no,
he can't keep his mouth shut.
and I understand that he's super excited about certain things, but I think my point here is that if he's gonna do it, tell him to do it in Gen Chat.
Yeah,
I
true.
think it's kind of my
I totally
point.
agree.
I will say that's one that I'm not really looking forward to. Graxy, I know you've dealt with it, you know, before already, but this is my first beta, and so like finding that fine line of like, because that's been a big thing for me, is like I don't gatekeep information. You know, everything that I have learned about Paladin, I share. I've told people numerous times. I've said it so many times. I should never be the rank 1 Pally because you guys know everything that I know. You should be able to take all the information that I've cultivated and do better than I do. You know, and so like me withholding information feels bad, but I know I have to. So I'm already kind of looking at that of like I need to keep myself in check as someone who is so, I try to be so transparent, but I know that I can't. Like it's irresponsible of me not to. So I very much feel that coming into this beta of like I really have to make sure I keep myself in check.
Yeah, that's fair.
But is the beta wanna be NDA? No, or has Elias said that it is?
It's kind of the other
NDA?
way, and maybe it needs to be reprimanded. But so Fuma put out something in the CBT announcements that says that anyone's allowed to make content, you're allowed to stream it, you're allowed to talk about it, you're allowed to whatever. There's been no rules for anybody in the beta as to what content they can and can't show. So I mean,
Okay.
I could tell everybody in the stream right now what this boss is and what the mechanics are, because that's literally the correspondence that was given to us. If that's the way they want to go, that's fine. But you'll never be able to have events or races or any of that sort of stuff, which I think is super missing from the game currently. I think Hero Siege could be a fantastic game to do races in, like per class, obviously. But so just something to mention. And I know Elias himself has been like, hey, I don't want people knowing new content or like seeing some of this stuff, but it's just he gets too excited sometimes. He needs to put it. Yeah, he can be excited, just put it in Gen Chat, right?
But I honestly, you guys should also like say to Elias. I know some people don't want to like exactly tell him or ask him anything, but you guys should like, everyone should just say that to him that you guys don't want him to like give you teasers in the closed beta chat.
Yeah, no, 100%.
He should do it in general.
I guess it was more so the only reason I didn't is because the correspondence that we got was that we didn't have any rules. We could do whatever we wanted. So it's like, yeah, I think it's just, yeah. So moving on from that, the season 8 was the first season that we had no wall to Inferno. Like they removed the bosses from being able to move to Inferno. For the most part, I feel like my community really enjoyed that. Anybody have like any pushback from people that didn't want that to happen, or do we like, just generally speaking, we all felt that it was a pretty good change?
Definitely a good change. I'll put it to you this way: I don't think I can recall anyone specifically going like, I think this was a bad move. There may have been people who are like, I don't think it was necessary, but the amount of people that I had that were like, I hate that Inferno is locked behind these two bosses, especially when there was a bug that people were experiencing where you would kill one boss, and if you didn't do the other one before you basically closed the game, you would lose the progress on that one boss. Right. So you would waste your materials. And like I said, I encountered people who had a problem with it where it was locked, and they would vocalize that. but I never had anyone blatantly say like this is bad that it's easier to get an Inferno. They may have had like I didn't feel it was necessary, but yeah, it very much felt like the community was kind of one-sided on it.
Yeah. Well, we kind of knew that before going into season 8. I just didn't know. I had a couple people that felt like it made the game feel a little too easy because like I was in Inferno day 1. I couldn't really clear Inferno, but like we were in Inferno within X amount of hours of the season. With that being the hardest content of the game, I don't know. I mean, you could say the same thing about PoE. People are in T16s day 1, like.
Yeah, exactly. There's always those guys, but we can't balance around like
Yeah.
they don't balance the game around Ben. No one would play the game.
True.
Yeah.
Holy.
There's no negatives. There's no negative for your overall player base because all that did was remove a barrier that your average player was ramming their head against, especially dependent on class choice.
Yeah. Yeah, that and
Yeah.
still losing the fight. Oh my god, to a bug. Like teleporting into a different zone, the lightning wall still going through. Oh my
yeah.
god, dude. Happened to me like 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm crashing up.
So next season we have boss drop changes, right? So you have Amon-Ra, Gabriel, and Luna have their boss drop chances are improved. They're better. So they go from, well, I mean, the ones that we care about. They go from 75% on Hell 5 and 100% on Inferno. So that's huge. I think that's going to be much more well received. I also think if it's going to be 75%, the 25% where you get nothing, should it be like a Prophet Wisdom or a Satanic Dice or something? I don't think it should just drop nothing, personally.
Yeah, there's nothing like doing a boss that you had to farm an entire day for to drop nothing. That the amount of people that crashed out this season because of that is probably astronomical.
Yeah.
I know of some of them that are in the channel right now that just went, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Well, and I think with the Ether Tree having like double bosses and stuff, I mean, the chances that you're gonna not hit on both of them is like feels bad. It's gonna happen, but it's definitely gonna be like, okay, you didn't hit this time, but next time you will. Generally, like,
Right,
like
right.
you
And
kind of have
I'm not
to.
saying that it, yeah, but having it to where like, and especially like doing 4, 5, 6, 7, and not getting a single drop was just bad. It did not work well for the community.
Yeah. Did anybody actually go for the relic slots and like the relic slot and the charm slot? Yeah.
It was nice. It's a nice little boost to character power. It's good having hard content reward you in a permanent way outside of just hoping for a drop. I think that was a really good change.
Yeah, I like the fact that I mean I didn't do it, but I don't feel like I needed it at any point. Like it wasn't like I have to go kill this boss and get this charm slot or get whatever to like to do Inferno or anything. It was just like a little bit extra if I wanted to. So I'm assuming that it'll still do that. It just won't be from yeah. I was just thinking about the old incarnation tree. Alrighty. So we're about an hour and 40 minutes in, and we're about halfway, boys. I'm just letting you know now. We're about halfway.
Fine.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So
worthy talking points.
Yeah. No, I just want to make sure because the idea is I was trying to get it around an hour to hour and a half. So I'm gonna kind of leave it up to you guys if we want to split for a second episode or if we want to just battle out more of it.
I'm fine with doing a little bit more personally.
Yeah, I'm fine as well. I will just go a little bit later to work.
Yeah.
I can do a little more.
Okay. Yeah, we'll run through. I think performance in QOL. We'll do that one. We'll just kind of skip this little tidbit. Maybe we can make it back to it. But I think performance in QOL, and then I'm probably gonna cut there and I'll edit some of this stuff out. Because I know Cat's got a stream, and yeah. All right. So performance for lower end PCs, me being one of those lower end PC players, I feel like it's hit rock bottom for season 8. Like it's gotten pretty bad. Obviously, I don't have like a super low end PC, but I don't have like an updated PC either. And it gets to a point for me like I basically can't play this game in a party. And I know people have complained about not being able to play in parties and stuff, but like me, it's like 5 FPS if I just even join a party. It's pretty bad. So I know that there's obviously the texture packs and things improving, but like I'm super hesitant to tell people that performance is massively increased and it's like way better because I've heard that for like 5 seasons now, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. So hopefully this time that's actually true. So I don't know.
Yeah, at least what I've been testing, it should be way better, and we kind of have to make it way better because of the like PS5. It only runs on like 60 FPS max, and well, it has to work because Sony's Q&A is really strict. They won't allow it to the shop if the like performance is too poor.
Gotcha. So
I'm very hopeful to see it kind of, hearing a lot of the stuff that's happening, in the beta chat. I'm really hoping that we see a really positive movement. I'm sure there a lot of people would really appreciate it.
Well, I don't even think it's a situation of appreciating it. I think if this game wants to continue growing and have a larger player base, it's never going to get it with the performance that it currently has. It'll continue being a big reason why people stop playing the game. It's been situations even for me where I'm just like I'm streaming it, but my stream quality is so shit. Like, cause I have Booster right now. I have the cloud gaming, and I'll go and play on cloud gaming and like see how much better the game is, with decent FPS, and then go back to my regular client on my PC and play it, and it's like I honestly don't even want to play the game if I'm not playing it on cloud. Which obviously I know that's a me problem and not so much a problem with the game. I get that, but I guess my point being is even in situations where other players do have these good PCs and they're getting this low of performance, it's like I understand why you want to leave the game. Like I know, I get it, and why you want to put the game down because of the performance issues. So, yeah.
Well, and it also kind of plays into like there's a certain element of Hero Siege is still Hero Siege is a growing project. Any loss in player base is felt more. So having it to where you're losing players because the game doesn't perform hurts.
Yeah.
And if there's a way to get around, to fix that, resolve that issue, it's going to be a net positive.
Yeah, I kind of understand how the whole texture pages work. I don't know if you guys have a better understanding of how these texture pages work. Can like enlighten myself or whomever.
Elias did like explain it to me, but well, since I'm not like programmer, it's it's way harder for me to explain it to you guys.
Yeah,
But it's just pretty much like how everything is layered. It was handled just really poorly, and now it's like handled way more efficiently.
yeah. And I think
in the very basics.
what was actually happening is that like every pixel, every item, every ground effect, every item effect that was on the ground was creating like a new texture page. So by the time you got
Yeah.
through a zone, you had like hundreds and hundreds of texture pages that your CPU was like holding together, which is why you would go and do an Unholy Siege and you have a bunch of items drop, it would make your FPS go to 0 because every single one of those was on its own texture page. So I guess now that's not the case, and it's all just one field. Which I mean, obviously, your CPU managing one thing over hundreds of things seems in my mind to be good. Like that's a better thing. But until I guess we get in game and we try it. But I mean, I've been in situations where I've been in beta and I've had like no performance issues, and I've even like replied and said, dude, I'm getting like 110 FPS all the time, even on my shit PC, and it's fantastic, and I love this. The season comes out, and guess what? I'm at 10 FPS again, and I cannot understand why. Like it's such a big disparity between what happens in beta and what's going on with the live service. Which again, that's kind of like my own problem. But something I've noticed.
Yeah, but it's still really odd. It shouldn't it shouldn't like work like that.
Yeah, no, it's because I'll go and say, hey, massive performance improvements. Here, guys, I have shit PC. I have 100 FPS. Everybody goes and logs in. No one can play their Amazons. They have 5 FPS now.
Mm.
So, yeah.
The number one complaint of every season is performance. It limits people on what classes they play too, which kills it.
Yep.
But hopefully.
So with that being said, what is one QOL feature that Hero Siege that you think that they really needs, like right now, that would benefit all players? I mean, if you were told, hey, we can make this happen right now, what is it that you would add to the game?
Knowing what we know, especially that's like already coming, I would say probably being able to select the base in the journal so that you can see exactly what kind of stats, because the varying stats between like a two-hander or a one-hander, being able to select the base to know what you're making would be really beneficial. So I'd say either that or improvements on the market. Being able to search for multiple affixes would make life a lot easier for a lot of people.
I'll put you back on your journal thing of one step forward. I cannot tell you how many times I've had to explain to a newer player, just players in general, that they can wear like quick step boots at level 31, or that they can wear stealth at level 17, or that they can wear all these rune words that show in the journal that they're 52, but they can wear them at earlier levels.
Yep. Well, and you know what? If I get in trouble for saying it, fine. That's actually one that I'm gonna bug Fuma and the team about, and go, hey, we need to fix this. This needs to be done. Having rune words in there that are not level appropriate for the runes is confusing to players, and it limits the access that players will have, and it can cause a hindrance in their progression.
At least the base thing is fixed, that they shouldn't roll like Archangel base anymore. There should be like static bases now, but I'm not sure about like the min level if that's fixed, but I can list it up. Shouldn't be no problem.
Yeah, that's that's definitely one that I think in every feedback video I've made and have talked about a lot, that the journal as a whole, like obviously it has a lot of good stuff about it, but the journal as a whole, I feel like it needs a bit of a rework. Searching for like items is, I don't know why there's not a search function in that. I guess for like gloves and boots and stuff like that, it's like way easier. But when it comes to the weapons, can we just like get a new way to sort the weapons? Like I don't need them sorted by their type, and then for each type, then they're sorted alphabetically. It's like it's so confusing to look through that and try and find weapons or anything.
Yeah, totally agree. I've asked like the search function to almost like anything, any menus should have.
Yeah, and I think the answer is it's like harder to do than maybe we initially think, but it's like if it's this big of a problem, then I don't know, redo your journal. Like I don't know.
It does seem weird that it would be a problem though, because we literally just got the unique tab with the search function in the unique tab.
Yeah.
And not that I know about programming.
Yeah. No, but like we also got the like ether tree with the search function, which it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. So that's one for sure. What do you want, Kat? Anything?
Price checking items from inventory on the market.
Holy.
Yeah. That is something that like I've asked multiple times, and it will be something that we will add after we've done like redone the whole item system. But like one thing regarding the market, I think and I hope that Elias and the guys don't want to make the market like too easy to use, because then it will invite all the bots and sniper bots in there. Like, not sure if any one of you play like TLI, because they have kind of,
I have, yeah,
in a sense, bad market, because you can't like filter with prices, but you can still search under X amount of prices, but you still have to like go through the pages. But I somewhat like that because then you don't have to be like undercutting after every map. You don't have to always go through all your items, and you can still sell like on the average price and not always like on the lowest price because of the system that it's a bit clunky.
Well, so I guess since we're on the price checker topic right now, we'll just talk about it. So there is a price checker coming in season 9.
Yeah.
Right. So everybody's aware.
should be.
I can read the patch note real quick. And I want chat. I want you guys to reply to this and what you think. Putting an item for sale will set its default price based on recent sold prices for that exact item. This price can be changed manually to whatever you want. This is essentially a price checker.
Sounds kind of awful if it doesn't check the rolls of the item.
That was my first concern when I saw that.
I think it's a reasonable starting point, you know, just to get their foot in the door. But it definitely, it's a toe in the door at this point.
I honestly think, and this, I honestly think it's to do more harm than good. I think it's pretty much useless and shouldn't even be in the patch notes. I think it's going to cause more harm than good. I think new players are going to get hit the most with it.
Yeah, definitely. If it doesn't actually check the rolls, I think we should just copy how it works in TLI, where you can just click like the rolls and change it on the fly.
Well, and I replied whenever I first read this patch note. I was like, oh, okay, price checker. And I'm kind of reading through it. And I'm like, that's not a price checker. And so I replied in beta chat and just said, hey, this is like not at all what we asked for when in terms of price check. When we were asked like, what features do we want of our price checker? It's nothing like that. And it basically came down to the fact that there's just not enough server capacity for it. Like there's not I forgot exactly what the wording Elias used, but they unfortunately it's not something they can do right now in terms of like server capacity and whatever. I'll have to go back and look at the actual wording, but there was a reason for it on the server side of things, that this wasn't a possibility, but maybe that's changed now because you're kind of like
And we just currently filter like with the rolls at least somewhat.
Like in my mind, I'm like, it's already doing all the functions of a price checker.
Exactly.
I just need you to display the values. That's it.
He said something along the lines that it would show the average median value as well as the historical when you pull the item. When I asked him about it, you could also just do a simple system like Last Epoch implemented their last season. You just shift click the item and it throws it in and filters all of its stats and pulls up the value of it based on those stats. It would just like copy paste the value into the trade search.
Yeah. Well, and I think maybe it was the fact that we wanted it while we were mapping too. Maybe that had something to do with it. I was like, oh, that's not going to be possible. But I don't even care about that. Even just having it in the market, being able to just, you know, put an item in and just have be able to see prices that the item has sold for within a certain period of time. Yeah. Why not allow the auction house to be accessed from anywhere?
Not actually sure if that's some sort of problem. I don't think it should be, but I think there will be some kind of argument from Elias that he wants to like a different acts to have like was it like their own identity, so to say, and that's why he hasn't like made these big hubs yet, at least, other than like the cabin, which hopefully will be free to play someday.
Would it stress the API from having too many queries, like in a row from multiple clients?
Yeah, probably, but that's something that Tommy could answer.
Yeah, maybe that was the reasoning. There's just too many pings. People price checking every single thing that
constantly.
they get. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So going back to like the actual price checker now, I don't know. And if it could do what it does now, but show the actual prices that it's getting its median from, that would be at least helpful in that regard, because it does it based off of a recent, which I don't know what the recent value is, if it's 4 hours, if it's 10 hours, if it's a day. But at least that would give people some idea, because it's not just like people that are listing that item, it's actually sold units, which again will help that it's sold units over. Yeah. There's also this side of it of the whole capitalism argument of people are just going to gold sink themselves as a way to fix the market on an item. But I don't know. The problem that we run into with this whole like gold sink idea is we've never had a true economy in Hero Siege. Like getting billion gold shouldn't be a thing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if we had like a true economy where people only have like millions of gold, like 10 million gold, you're not going to be sinking on items to change the price. At least in my head, that's what I think.
Well, and getting
You're
away
right.
from like the greed rune or greed glyph is at least a step towards that. Trying to reduce ways of people to mass farm gold is definitely going to minorly curb that.
Yeah. So yeah, going back to like quality of life features or just things that the game kind of needs right now. I think a new player tutorial would be sick. I know that there's like the very beginning few stages, but I feel like a new player tutorial that is a character that you log into that is like in standard. It's not a part of the actual league, but that has different quests in it, that like an environment with different quests that teaches people how to make rune words, how gems work, how skills work, how it makes you look at stats on the character sheet, shows you where the journal's at, shows like everything. It can teach new players how to play the game. Hell, I could even write one up. Like the different quests with like different steps with it, I think would be huge, because the gap for new players, I don't think it's super high in terms of learning the game, but I think there's just some information that they just will never know until somebody tells them.
Yeah, we have actually like pitched multiple ideas to Elias multiple times already. I'm not sure if he doesn't like really appreciate the new player experience, or if he thinks people should play like Diablo 2 way back.
Mm-hmm.
But we're trying to get, because like the Robert, the new guy in our house, he actually like he wrote really good document, because he actually played like first time ever Hero Siege, and he had so much to say about certain stuff. So yeah, we are going to like fix the new player experience, but I'm not sure if I don't think it's gonna make on the like season 9, but hopefully for season 10.
Right. Well, and I think it comes down to, because there's a lot of situations where people will be like, well, I didn't know that. The game didn't, like, there's nowhere in the game where I ever would have learned this information. And at least now we can say, hey, just go to the tutorial. And what happens is these new players don't know these things. They go into Discord and I mean, some people are helpful, but some people troll them for not knowing certain things and
Yeah.
gatekeeping information. And it's just a shit experience for that new player. And I think it's
Yeah.
very important if we are now going this whole direction of adding a 1500 node tree to target. I'm not saying that specifically we're targeting PoE players, but I'm sorry, but if a PoE player sees a giant tree, they're gonna be like, huh? And gonna want to come play it. So for that new player experience, I think is more important now than it's ever been in the past 9 seasons or 8 seasons.
Yeah, I do agree, but
Yeah. No, I
shame
know.
that I don't pull the strings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could you'd be very well served to take a look at the current quest system in the game, which I would argue is basically useless.
Yeah.
Outside of the ones that point you towards endgame functions once you actually hit Hell 5 or Hell difficulty, and use the quest system as a tutorial. That's what most games do to onboard new players. Considering you could have your blasters skip the quests because they know how to play, and then have your tutorial players go through it and offer them choices and options and things that kind of explain how mechanics work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Well, that's-
honestly, any of these would be totally fine. What I'm saying, what Kat's saying, what I'm sure Rexy has pitched a billion times, any of these would be totally fine for that new player experience. It just
Pretty
isn't there.
much. Yeah, I've actually pitched exactly those things, like, and all the like Inferno changes last season were pretty much thanks to me, and all the new quests on the Hell and Inferno were pretty much because people wanted didn't actually know how to play the end game. We had to push those in. But like Elias is somewhat hesitant for some ungodly reason to add these things, and since he's the like CEO / only front end coder, it is pretty rough spot at times. But I will do my best.
Another one that I think the game really needs is a social tab. Like, I know there's obviously Steam and you can like add people and do all sorts of things from Steam, but having a social tab where I can DM my friends, I can see all my friends that are online, I can see what level they are, I can inspect them, I can invite them to my party, I can interact with those people, and I just think the game is kind of missing that. Also, blocking people, I can't actually block someone and not see their messages anymore. I have people that are like saying some crazy shit in chat, and it's on my stream of them saying these crazy things, and so, like, you can't block them and stop it.
Yeah.
But just in general, having a social tab where I can invite people and bring people in would be amazing.
See what game they're in and stuff. That's a really good idea. I'd love that.
Yeah, see we could join on party, ask to join party, all those sorts of things. And I think to take it one step further, I don't know why we can't inspect anybody at any time. Having like
honestly,
sorry, Ben.
No, I was just gonna say, even if it didn't show them where they were or like allow us to join the game, just having a friends list would make such a big difference. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. The whole guild friend system should be like revamped anyway.
Yeah, I want to be able to, like, I found this cool item. Like in the Blood Pact, obviously we're supposed to have our own little, drop chat, whatever. But maybe those people aren't online or whatever, and I can like DM somebody that I found this really cool item, and they can look at the stats and that sort of thing. I don't even know now. Can you can DM other players, right? Can you instant message?
You can, but the system is horrible.
Yeah, I don't even know and even use it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, it's
just horrible. Like the best way to join other players' game is pretty much the invite or just join through the Steam friend list. It is bad.
That's definitely one of the biggest things from like D2, D3, pretty much any of the other ARPGs that we've played is just having good social tabs. I think really creates that sense of community, creates that sense of making friends, right? And,
well, and not for nothing, like especially us, from a streamer standpoint, it really makes it difficult to interact with the community. If someone needs help with something or whatnot and they can't find your game, it really is difficult to try and explain how to find it, or just be like, dude, just make a game and I'll join you. And that just becomes confusion for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Do we have any other ideas for QOLs that the game needs right now? Yeah, I'm sure we'll think of some more. Probably like an hour from now.
There's ton.
5 minutes after we stop.
10 minutes from now, yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard because it's like you have one thing that you want to for sure, like the game needs this so bad right now, and you guys kind of have to weigh all of those options. There's a lot of like small little things that could be better, but yeah. You know what? I think this is a great place to stop. It's been 2 hours. Right, we've gone through a ton of stuff. I'm gonna save the other half of what we've got here for another episode. This gives me a lot of like insight to knowing like how long these podcasts can take with these different topics. It's you guys have a lot of really good points and perspectives, and we spend a lot of time on each one of these topics, which is, I think, great. It's fantastic. Does anybody have any final thoughts before I kind of close things out? Okay. Yeah. Chat, do we have any actually we'll do this. Ozzy, do you have anything? A couple questions before we close out here?
Nothing notable that you haven't already addressed.
Okay. Sweet. Guys, be sure check out the questionnaire. You can do !questionnaire if I can type. Fill this form out. This will give us some more information on things that you want to hear us talk about here on the podcast, as well as just, let me know how I did. That's going to wrap up this episode of the Siege Cast. thank you so much to the panel for all the discussions. It's been real. It's been fun. And chat, of course, thank you guys so much for all of your feedback and the questions that you've given. As always, these are just opinions, and we encourage you guys to share your thoughts in the comments on the YouTube video, as well as through that questionnaire that is linked in the chat. Thank you so much, and we will see you guys in the next episode of SiegeCast. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
I'm actually gonna, guys.
Bye.
I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna be doing some more stuff on stream. We're gonna play a little bit of Hero Siege, Hardcore SSF. I'm kind of saying bye to the boys here that are hanging out. So I really appreciate y'all, and yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks for having us, Grax. This is great.
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Bye.
Bye bye.